English skills, because this is an opportunity for us to have an exposure to a native speaker who is Kate Pessin. And we feel really lucky today to have her as a guest speaker. Kate Pessin is licensed counselor and teacher. She has worked with students and their families for about 18 years. And now she's here in Madagascar with her families to support her husband, who is a program director of Peace Corps here in Madagascar. And today, this afternoon, we have a very highly interesting topic because she's going to talk about handling stress in a healthy way. And as you know, there are countless sources of stress. The traffic jam, you name it, the list is long. So I think that will be her topic. I give her the floor. After her presentation, you'll be able to ask her questions and it becomes more interactive. Thank you for your attention. The floor is yours, Kate.
Thank you. All right, welcome everyone. If I talk too fast, because sometimes when I get excited about a topic, I talk fast, just be like, slow down, and I'll slow down because I know it's everyone's second language, third language, you know, and I'm very impressed that you guys are learning English, fourth language. Okay, today I'm going to talk to you about, as he said, about handling stress in healthy ways, and I'll try to make it interactive somewhat. So before I start, can you raise your hand if you ever feel stressed? Of course, we all do. Right. Raise your hand if you have felt stressed in the last week. Within the last week. Okay, me too. The traffic on the way here. I mean, this is a little stressful, right? Presenting to people. So every day we come across some sort of stress in our lives. Let's see if okay. Okay, so what we'll talk about today, the outline, we're going to talk about stress, what it is, some coping strategies, how do you handle it when stress occurs, some protective factors, things you can have in your life that will help you not to be as stressed as often. And then at the end, I'll just talk a little bit about when it goes beyond typical stress, beyond normal stress, when it's depression or when people self-harm, or even when it gets to the worst point and people think about suicide. And I'll just talk about those things a little bit. I have a lot of slides on them, but I won't talk about it too much. So, I pointed it the wrong way. Okay, so what is stress? Stress is the body's reaction to a challenge, right? It could be anything from physical danger, oh my gosh, there's a bear right in front of me, or it could be something like going on a date, or trying out for a sports team, or having a big event coming up. And stress is not always about bad things coming. Sometimes you can be stressed when it's a good thing, and you can be stressed when it's a bad thing. The human body, your body responds by activating your nervous system and specific hormones. So the hypothalamus, which is a huge word, that's part of your brain, it signals the adrenaline glands to release this cortisol, and it puts it in your bloodstream. And then that increases your heart rate, it increases your blood pressure. Your pupils get big and you just have more energy. So your brain is sending a signal to your body to have that energy, to have your heart beat fast, to have the blood flowing. And actually, I don't know if any of you are below 25. I think a lot of you look like you're below 25. If you're under 25, this response to stress even kicks in more quickly because the prefrontal cortex part of your brain is not yet fully developed until you're 25. So it happens more fast and easier. So sometimes you hear about teenagers being very dramatic. A lot of it has to do with that stress kicks in even quicker with teenagers and early 20-year-olds. Okay. So good versus bad stress. I mentioned you can have stress in different ways, right? Good stress is that perfect amount of stress that you want to happen before an event to do your best work. You have a big test. You want to be a little bit stressed about it, or else you're not going to study and you're not going to do well on the test. I am presenting to a lot of people. If I just was like, oh, I'll just go in there and talk off the top of my head, I'm not stressed about it, it would not be good, right? So good stress is okay. It still does the same things to your body, but it helps get you to the level you need to be at. And then bad stress occurs when you can't cope with it. You're overwhelmed by the amount of stress that you have. And it tends to happen when it happens over a long period of time. The stress starts to break down your body because it's too much. It's overwhelming. And the same event some people can think it's good stress and some people can think it's bad stress. Like if you're going on a carnival ride, like a ride at a carnival or a roller coaster or something, some people may feel this is awesome. You might be a little stressed and excited, and some people that would be the worst thing they could ever do. Or trying a new food at someone's house or going out on a first date. Some people think it's a good thing. The stress is good and sometimes it's bad, and it's different for everyone. Okay, so what are some causes of stress? I'd like to hear from you guys. Raise your hand and let me know what you think may cause stress in life. Yes. An operation? Oh, pressure, yes. School pressure, job pressure, that causes stress to get something done. Excellent. Any other ideas what could cause stress? Everyday life things. Yeah, definitely. It can. I love how you mentioned traffic. I mean, my goodness, lately the traffic is so stressful, and getting to places on time because of the traffic, that can be quite stressful. Anything else that you can think of that may cause stress? Yes, fear. Yes, if you're afraid of something, that's definitely causes stress. It causes those same reactions. Yes. Any other ideas? Yes. Surprising situations. Yes, it's the unexpected. Yes, that can cause stress. You don't know what to expect, like your first day at a new job or your first day at a new school. That's stressful because it's unexpected. You're not sure. Those are all things. I listed some things too. School career pressure, like you said, decisions that you have to make about your life, the workload, getting things done on time, definitely stressful. The clicker that I can't work. Relationships, good and bad, they can be stressful. You're dealing with someone else's emotions and feelings, it can be stressful. Just moving from one place to the next, not moving like here to here, but moving from one house to another, or changing your living situation, even if it's a better living situation, it can still be stressful, even if it's a good thing. Illness or injury, definitely, that causes stress. Taking care of someone who is ill or elderly, that can cause stress. Family and peer conflicts. When you have a problem with a friend or with family, that's a huge source of stress. If you're not getting along with someone, definitely. Being exposed to violence or to sexual harassment, if you are every day or regularly exposed to some sort of violence or to sexual harassment, any kind of traumatic event would cause stress. any sort of trauma to happen in your life. Change or transition, like a new job or a new marriage. Again, even if it's good, it can still be stressful to your body to go through that change. Money or lack of it can obviously cause a lot of stress. The death of a loved one definitely would be grief, and it would also be very stressful. So I think we covered a lot of things that cause stress. I bet you, as I went through the list, you may have thought, yes, that's happening to me. Yes, 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 yes. We all have some of this, right, that causes stress. Okay. What are some signs that you or a friend may be suffering from stress? The first one popped up, but some of the things might be headaches, stomach aches, muscle pain, tiredness. You just feel so tired. You cannot wait to close your eyes at night because your body is stressed. Is there any other things that you can think of that happen to you when you feel stressed? Like signs? You sweat. Okay, yeah. Sweating definitely happens when you're stressed. I just had a job interview and I had to like keep my arms down like this the whole time because I was sweating so much. So yes, sweat can definitely happen. Anything else that you can think of? Lose your appetite. Yes, yes. Some people lose their appetite and some people eat with their appetite. Yes, that can happen. Anything else that you can think of? Actually, it's quite a lot of things that can happen to your body. In some people, it happens to more. Shutting down or withdrawing from people and activities. You just feel like you want to be alone. Increased anger or irritability, you know, when just everyone is getting on your nerves and you know they're not even doing anything wrong, but they're just the people are getting on your nerves. Crying more often and appearing teary-eyed. You're crying and you don't really even know why. Your body is just going through this stress. Feelings of hopelessness, anxiety or nervousness, changes in sleeping and eating habits, maybe not being able to sleep or wanting to sleep all the time or nightmares, and difficulty concentrating. You can't really focus on one thing because you're thinking about whatever it is that's stressing you out. And sometimes people turn to drugs or alcohol to deal with their stress. That is not one of the healthy ways to deal with stress, but it is something that a lot of people tend to do. It tends to make your stress worse, actually, in the long run. Okay, so strategies for coping with stress. Before I go into some of these, do you guys have anything that works for you? Like what helps you keep your body calm when you're in a stressful situation? I'm sorry, play music. That's an excellent one. I didn't even put that one up there. Yes? Education. To cope, yeah. Well, I think you were also, we said about the unexpected. So if you educate yourself on things, it helps with that unexpected for sure. Yes? Broadly speaking. No? Well, this whole room is doing an amazing job at this, the educated part. Yes?
For me to avoid stress, like I go alone in the lonely place, like far from the town, and just
It's not a bad thing to spend some time alone, away from all the things. Take a break from your life for a little bit, from the day to day, just to kind of cool yourself down. When you come back, do you feel more refreshed?
because there I scream alone.
Okay, so screaming in a pillow or screaming out in the. Does it help?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's a great idea.
So when I go home, like I don't care about everything, just I feel comfortable.
It's gotten out. You've released the stress. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. What else? Yes. Exercise, doing sports. I know for me, I run or go to the gym every single day. And if I don't, I am irritable. I yell at my kids. I'm just not as good of a person if I don't get that out in some way, that energy. And that's really where I'll put stress in. If I'm worried about something, I go running, and it helps clear my mind. So that's a great one. Yes. Asking for help. Yeah. Strategies for coping with stress. Definitely talking about it and asking for help. It's not easy. It's not easy, but every single one of us raised our hands and we have been stressed and we feel it. We all can relate to it. So it might be hard to ask, but if a friend asks you for help, how do you feel?
I will definitely help.
Of course, right? So we all have that feeling of the friends that we trust and we can go to for help. And it's important to rely on our friends because no one's in this world all alone. So, okay, so you guys probably mentioned at least half of the things I'll say. So you already know everything. Just kidding. Okay, first one, talk about problems with others. That goes along the same line of talking about it, asking for help if you need it. Sometimes just saying it out loud helps get that stress off of you. Like you said, you feel a release when you scream. Sometimes just saying, oh my gosh, the traffic was insane. I'm going crazy. I can't get anywhere on time. Just talking about it sometimes helps. Not complaining all of the time, but just getting it off of your chest sometimes can really help, especially with those bigger problems. Second one, take deep breaths, accompanied by thinking or saying out loud, I can handle this. I have a poster in my house for my girls to see that says, we can do hard things, because we can. We have come through, all of us can do hard things, and you need to remind yourself of that. I can do this, right? And those deep breaths, sometimes the kids I work with, they're like, is that a deep breath? No, of course not. It's, yes. So what I always talk about with the kids, I say a deep belly breath. And you put your hand on your tummy and you in for 4 and out for 4. So you breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. You take it slow. I can do this, right? And when I talk about this with little kids, I make them practice it. I won't make you guys all practice it, but today I want you to try it, taking those deep breaths at some point. I won't make you do it now, though. Okay, perform progressive muscle relaxation, which involves repeatedly tensing and relaxing large muscles of your body. So it's like tightening your shoulders and your arms and then relaxing. And then tightening your legs and then relaxing. So just kind of, it's a way to relax your body, to be aware. So tighten, relax. And you do that like 5 times in a row, and it can help clear your mind to deal with the situation at hand that is causing you stress. This is a big one. Set small goals and then break the tasks into smaller, manageable chunks. So you have a big something, big assignment, big work project, big whatever. And then instead of just being overwhelmed and thinking, this is way too big, there's no way I can get through this, you break it up. Okay, 1 day at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time. If you start looking at it in smaller chunks, all right, I'm going to first just do this 1 chapter, or I'm going to first just do this little bit, breaking it up, and even setting, by this next week, I'll do this part, and by the following week, I'll do this part. So really setting it into goals. Okay, we talked about this. Exercising and eating regular meals. We said when you're stressed, you don't feel like eating, it's still important to eat, because if you're hungry, it's not going to help your stress, right? And not eating, you know, a bowl of ice cream or whatever, eating healthy, regular meals and exercising. Sometimes people will say, I'm too stressed to exercise. I don't have the time. If you make that time, your stress levels go down, even if it's 20 minutes. Now, I'm getting proper sleep. That's a hard one, but everything feels worse when you haven't slept. It all just seems harder. Everything is distorted when you're only getting a couple hours of sleep. Does anyone know how much sleep a night you should be getting? Yes, 8. So at least 8. It's very hard, 6 to 8. And actually, women need more sleep than men. So men can do better on 6, 7, and women more 7, 8. Okay, visualizing and practicing feared situations. So let's say I felt very stressed out about presenting to this. Okay, what I could do is I could think in my head, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do well. I'm going to know what I'm talking about. I'm going to go through the slides. Everything's going to be okay. Or I could think about it. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to fall when I walk in. The slides aren't going to work. They're all going to look at me like, you know. So I could think through either way. But the more you train your brain to think of the positive, this is what's going to happen. And it's going to be okay. I'm going to get through it. Even if I fall, I can get back up and I'm going to be okay, right? So really visualizing whatever you're scared of and visualizing it in a positive way, that it turned out okay. And it's amazing when you actually do that. Like for a long time, I couldn't dive in water. And I kept imagining that I was going to do it wrong. And then once a coach told me, just imagine you're doing it perfectly. You're going to do the whole dive perfectly. And once I pictured that over and over, I really could then dive in the water. You know, you practice it in your mind and then you succeed. Okay, this is a big one too. That's a hard one. It's easier said than done. Focus on what you can control, your own reactions, your actions, and try to let go of what you can't control, right? There's no sense in worrying over and over about somebody else's reaction. You can think about your reaction and how you're going to handle it. And then if you can't be positive with these feared situations, you can think about the worst case scenario. You can think, well, what if I did fall? Or what if I never dive? Is that the end of the world? It's okay. I could do this or this instead, right? It's all right if it doesn't work out perfectly. You hope it's going to work out. And then if it doesn't, what's my fallback plan? Lower unrealistic expectations. You know, you don't keep in mind what is realistic. I can't say I'm going to go out and run a marathon tomorrow, but I've done no training and worry about it, stress about it. You have to think, okay, this is kind of like breaking into smaller goals too, but what can I do? What's realistic? Push yourself just a little bit above what you think is realistic, and then continue pushing yourself, but not completely unrealistic. Like, I'm going to get myself, I don't know, some crazy amount of money, $1 million by next year, and I'm going to be this career or whatever. That's that, unless you have a plan, that's pretty unrealistic. Oh, schedule breaks and enjoyable activities, the things that stress you out. If you have a assignment ahead of you, you know it will take you 2 hours. You say, okay, at 30 minutes, I'm going to take a break, and at 1 hour, I'm going to take a break, but it's only going to be a 5-minute break or whatever. But scheduling that so you know that you're not dreading all of it. Accept yourself as you are. Identify your unique strengths and build upon them. When you think about your strengths and what you do well, and give up the idea of perfection, both in yourself and in others. No one's perfect, right? So we have to give ourselves permission to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. Those are all important things to help cope with the stress. Let's see. Oh, I think I went back up one. Okay, so I just found this little clip about one thing to do while you're in the middle of a stressful situation. If you have 90 seconds, it's just a way to clear your brain so that you don't scream at someone or do something that you might regret when you're feeling very stressed out. So this is the first video that I sent you. It seems a little cheesy, but I think it works.
On the in-breath, count 2.
Oh, wait.
And on the out-breath, think blue. On the in-breath, second window to circumvent a stress reaction that if we don't circumvent, it's going to create a knee-jerk stress reaction in which you're going to behave badly and you're going to regret it later. And so the 90-second window, the tool that gets you through the 90-second window of time is called the clear button. And here's how it works. Hold your palm in front of your face, and with the index finger, press the button in the middle, and you keep pressing it.
Right about there, smack in the middle.
Right smack in the middle.
All right.
And you keep pressing it. You can close your eyes if you want. Relate to your breathing. And we're going to count to 3. I'm going to think of each number as a color. So on the in-breath, count 1. And on the out-breath, think red. On the in-breath, count 2. And on the out-breath, think blue. On the in-breath, count 3, and on the out-breath, think green. Now release the button and let your mind go completely blank for about 10 seconds. Just be free of the world and all its stress for 10 seconds. And now when you come back to this situation where a knee-jerk stress reaction might have made you behave badly, you're now clear to make a better choice, to make a better decision, to do something more positive and proactive.
The reason I'm so passionate about this is because stress is something we all write off to a little issue we got to get through in life. When I begin to learn, as Dr. Carter outlined, that it's actually making us more prone to having Alzheimer's, especially some of us, it's no longer a minor little thing. Because the person you're hurting isn't the people around you, it's yourself.
That's right.
Be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss anything. And remember to check back often to see what's new.
That's Dr. Oz. He's like a famous doctor in the United States. He has a television show, and all like the people who don't work or at home watch his Dr. Oz at 10 a.m. every day. He always talks about like different health issues. Everybody loves Dr. Oz. He was on Oprah to start. You guys all know Oprah. And then he did a spin-off and started his own show. But he used to be like once a week on Oprah, and then he started his own show. Little American culture. Dr. Oz, O-Z. O-Z. Dr. O-Z. Oz. He's great. And you can find his stuff on YouTube and stuff all over. Okay. So we've talked about the oh no, I just skipped a thing, I think. Hold on. Yes. Okay. No. Yes. Okay. So we talked about how to cope with it when stress comes. These are just things, if you have in your life, whether you are stressed or not, it will keep stress further away from you. It will help you prevent stress. So enough sleep, regular sleep, having fun with your family and friends, trying to do some fun things in your life, active time outside, being outside as much as you can and trying not to spend all your time indoors without any windows. Quiet time in nature, like you going away. Engaging in relaxation and mindfulness. That's just, those relaxation exercises like that. Even doing that when you're not stressed. I teach my kids just to fall asleep at night, we deep breathe together so that when something stressful happens, they know how to use that breath. So when they're falling asleep, they're not stressed out, but they have learned how to use the breath. So every night before you go to sleep, you can just really practice that deep breathing, and it will help you in your life later when you are stressed. And gratefulness, identifying happy experiences, right? Even those of us with the roughest, most stressful life, there's usually something at the end of every day that you can be grateful for, that you can think that you're happy that this happened. And that's another good practice. When you go to bed, what am I grateful for? What am I happy about that happened today? It's something in our family we do at dinner time. We go around and we say, what was the highlight of the day, right? So just thinking about something you're happy about or that you're grateful for. And it might be the same thing every day. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful that I can walk. I'm grateful, but just to keep that in mind, the things that you're grateful for really helps with your stress levels. Okay. So like I said, I'm not going to go very deep into these next slides, but I do think it's important to know about beyond typical stress, because depression and self-harm and suicidal ideation, that is beyond your typical day-to-day stress that we face. So I just want you to be aware of some of these things. A lot of times, I know in the United States, and I'm fairly sure it's the same in Madagascar, there's a mental health stigma. Young people are afraid to admit having a mental health problem because they may fear being shamed. And a lot of times people don't ask for help. And a lot of times people don't go because they think it looks like they're weak. But many people do have mental health issues or problems, and it's okay. The only way to get out of those is asking for help, like you mentioned. Okay, so with depression, I will go quickly. It's normal, like we said, everyone feels sad or down or irritated sometimes. But when it turns into depression, it's when that sadness limits your ability to act normally. You know, it impacts your daily life. You can't go on doing what you've always done because that heavy sadness or burden is so heavy, you can't really move forward in your life. The main sign is when people are sad, discouraged, irritable for weeks, months, or even longer. So not just like, I just woke up kind of feeling sad today. It's when that heavy feeling that just stays with you for months. It interferes with your energy, your concentration, your sleep, your appetite. You may lose interest in activities, seem tired, give up easily. All of those things are signs of depression. When people have depression, it's very hard for them to make an effort, even doing things that they used to enjoy. They are really not wanting to do anything. And everyday problems just seem even more difficult. I skipped one, I think, again. Okay, and what helps depression get better? Depression gets better with the right attention and care. If it's not treated, things can stay bad or get worse, right? So you have to get the right help when you have depression or you're depressed. And what is the right help? One of the first things you can do is get a medical checkup, go to the doctor. Sometimes, you know, health conditions can cause those symptoms of depression. So it could be something wrong with your thyroid. You could have an illness like mononucleosis. All of those things can cause people to feel tired and depressed. So the first thing you would want to do is just check with a doctor if you're having that just constant feelings. I know this is not the most accessible thing here, talking to a counselor or a therapist about it. I know, am I right? It's not that easy to find a counselor or therapist in Madagascar. Okay. There are online counselors and therapists, but also just if you don't have a counselor or a therapist you can talk to, a trusted adult or person that you know you can trust and talk to really helps, right? Just saying, this is how I'm feeling and this is what's going on. And some other ways to help yourself. We talked about a lot of these. Eating healthy foods, getting the right amount of sleep, getting exercise, taking the time to relax. The good things, we talked about that. Positive thinkings, a gratitude journal, which is those positive things in your life. Getting support, like we said, from family or friends. Many people think it helps to talk to someone, or I messed that up, or someone they trust. Just saying something like, I've been feeling really down lately, I think I'm depressed. That's a great way to start a discussion with someone. And then, what can you do if a friend comes to you and says, I'm feeling really depressed, I'm so down. So here's some of the things that you can do to help too. Listen and talk with them, show that you understand what they're feeling. Yes, I know that I understand. Of course, I have noticed you're feeling sad. Definitely listening. Remind them that things can get better. You're there for them through the downs and the ups. You know, I'm here for you. I'm supporting you. Help them see things that are already good about their life, even when it's hard for them to notice. Like saying, can we try to focus on the fact that you're healthy or that you have your family or those kind of things. Keeping company with them. Sometimes it's just spending time with someone who feels sad. They just need company. And trying to do enjoyable or relaxing things with that person. Getting their mind off of things. And give them honest compliments, help them find things to laugh or smile about. You know, go do something fun. I think that's it for that one. Okay, and then self-harm. Some of you may have heard of this. A lot of times when people are feeling depressed, they then decide that they want to hurt themselves in different ways. Not with the idea of trying to kill themselves, but with the idea that they're just hurting themselves. Like they may cut themselves. Here's a popular spot: scratching, burning, piercing, all that, hitting one's head. Why do people do it? Sometimes people find a relief when they're really depressed. If they hurt themselves, they see it as a relief in some way. It kind of, for people who don't do this, it's hard to understand, but sometimes people do that. Sometimes they feel very numb, and so they'll hurt themselves so that they feel more alive. Sometimes they want other people to know that they're in pain. Sometimes they're just curious. Other friends may do it. Sometimes they like the physical pain because it distracts them from their emotional pain. Sometimes it helps them feel in control of their body. Yeah, that's pretty much. Oh, gosh. But obviously it's really, really dangerous to do, and this is not a healthy coping mechanism like we talked before. You can really hurt yourself when you do this. It can cause infection. It can become addicting when people do this. It can be, you know, you can end up accidentally even killing yourself without meaning to. So this is like a very unhealthy coping mechanism, but I know it is one that people do use. So I just wanted to alert you to that does happen. And yes. What is the mechanism? Okay, so I can go back to that slide if you'd like to see it, because what do they expect from it? A lot of people get relief when they do it. They feel better. Even though they're hurting themselves, it makes them feel better. And sometimes if they feel very numb in life, like they're very depressed, they like the pain because they're feeling so numb. It helps. That pain like makes them feel alive, if that makes sense. Yes. Yes.
From the water from outside.
Right. Its own.
Make it very clear, simple, without any ambiguity.
Yes. Okay. I'm happy to answer questions if you have questions. Oops, I did the wrong way again. Yes, self-harm means they do it to themselves, right? And then it's very dangerous. So if anyone were to be doing this, this would be really important to tell someone. If someone tells you they're doing this, you would want to get them help, right? If you have any more questions about this, we can talk about this more. I'm just going to go through these slides, but because I'm hoping that this is not a massive problem with this community. Oops, I keep going the wrong way, you guys, sorry. I have a lot of ways that people can stop. There's a lot of different things that you can do. And so afterwards, even if you know someone that's struggling with this, I can even give you great resources and websites, or I could share my presentation, but I don't have to go through all of these right now. But it's just ways to stop and ways to to handle it if that's happening to anybody you know. I'm happy to talk to you about it afterwards or during. And then the last, worst case scenario, if someone is feeling depressed, sometimes people talk about or think about suicide. Usually suicide is when people already have some like serious emotional problems. They are distressed, they feel hopeless. A lot of times people who attempt suicide have already attempted suicide, or someone in their family has. And usually they don't have a support network around them. They don't have people that they feel like they can go to. No, it's okay.
So I see dollar it's utmost level, excuse my word, utmost level of the way of thinking about any kind of problem in individual.
Right, it's the worst, like extreme level.
Okay.
Yes?
Utmost level means that anytime, anywhere in the earth, this kind of people could never find someone who is able to take about the subject is with.
I'm sorry, I don't think I quite understand.
When you reach the level of suicidal,
Yes.
that means it's the utmost level. Okay, I speak slowly.
Yes.
And if you come at that level,
Yes.
that means any kind, any people you have talked about together, they cannot understand him at all.
He didn't talk to anyone.
Right.
You understand me?
Yes.
It's matter of dialogue,
Yes.
not monologue.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes, that is why I said the lack of a social network. So not having anyone they feel that they can turn to, that's one of the risk factors. It can happen with people who have many loved ones around them, but that they don't feel they can go to them. They may feel very loved, but they feel sometimes their brains are so depressed that they think if I wasn't here, the world would be a better place. So it's like they think maybe it will be a good thing to do, right? But obviously, if someone commits suicide, it destroys everyone that they love around them. It's not a positive thing, but it's because their brain is so depressed, it's hard to see outside of themselves. So some warning signs, if someone is that depressed, they may be talking about suicide. They may talk about, I'm just going to go away. They might pull away from friends and family. A lot of the same things as depression. And what if it's someone you know? What if a friend says to you that they're thinking about this? It's always, or you think, I think this person's thinking about this. They haven't told me, but it will not cause someone to commit suicide if you ask them, are you thinking about ending your life? It actually could be a relief to that person to talk about it. So it's okay if you really think someone's struggling with this to ask them, is this something you're thinking about? And then get help, talking to other people about it, going to even a doctor and saying, this is something that I've been thinking about, or my friend is thinking about, how can I help them? Talking things through with the person and giving them an opportunity to consider other solutions to their problems. How else can we fix what's going on? Like, let's brainstorm together and help you come up with some solutions to this problem. And because people who are depressed, they can't see the answers. So they need a friend to help them, show them the answers. So if you have these feelings, you talk to someone. If you know someone who has these feelings, you help talk it through with them. And even if a friend swears you to secrecy, this is more, I'm thinking younger people, but if I have 13, 14-year-olds who their friend tells them they're thinking about this, but you can't tell anyone, you would tell someone, because you have to get that person help. Okay, so all of this has to do with taking care of ourselves because we're worthy of it, right? We are all worthy of loving ourselves and not being stressed out and taking care of ourselves. So I just want to end on this little video before we have a few minutes for discussion. This is the last video. It's not Dr. Oz.
There's something for 85 cents, and after tax, it ends up being...
Started late again.
Let me speak to that person that feels like they lost their worth or their value. This is a dollar bill. Now, if I go to the store and there's something for 90 cents, can I buy it with this dollar bill? Okay, all right. So if I go to the store and there's something for 85 cents, and after tax, it ends up being 96 cents, can I buy it with this dollar bill? Okay, all right, so what if I ball the dollar bill up? Think about it now. Like, I just balled the dollar bill up, like, so it can't be worth $1 now. It's probably worth like 95 cents, right? How much you think it's worth? $1. Listen, y'all gotta pay attention. I just balled it up, so clearly it's not worth $1 anymore. All right, so maybe, what if I step on it? What if I stomp it? I just stomped it. How much is it worth now? Maybe 65 cents, 68 cents? It's still worth $1? Okay, what if I ball it up? What if I stomp on it and then I put it in the trash can and it's in here with some trash and it's around some beer and some gum and a bunch of other nasty stuff, and some guy off the street pulls the dollar out, unfolds it. How much is it worth now? Maybe 82 cents? And come on, at least 92 cents? It's okay, all right, so what if I ball it up? What if I step on it? What if I put it in trash? And then, watch this, I tear it in half. Think about it now, right? How much is it worth now? $1? I could tape it? Whoa. Shh. Wait. Wait a second. I just balled it up. I just stepped on it, I put it in trash, I pulled it out, then I tore it in half, and you mean to tell me I can pick the dollar up, I can wipe it off, and I can put some tape around it, and it's still worth $1? Then why, if this dollar doesn't lose its worth or its value, then why do you feel like you've lost your worth of value? Because many of you feel like you've been stepped on, you feel like you've been pushed aside, you feel like you've been abandoned, you feel like you've been talked about, you feel like you've been abused, like someone took from you, someone hurt you, somebody took advantage of you, and deep down inside your core, you feel like you've lost some of your value. And I am here to tell you today that this dollar still has worth and value, because there are some men years ago who put value over this life and said that no matter what happens to it, it can still be taped back together, it can still be wiped off. And I am here to tell you that you were created and you're born and you're here and you have life and you have purpose and you have value. And though you've gone through some hard times, and though you've experienced some depression, and you might be wanting to hurt yourself and you might want to give up, I am here to tell you still got worth and value. And there is nothing that can happen that can take your worth and your value away. So what you gotta do now, you gotta pick yourself up. You gotta dust yourself off and you gotta keep moving.
Okay, so I think we only have 7 minutes. Sorry, I talked a lot. But does anyone have any questions about what I spoke about? Or comments? Yes.
What's the difference between stress and being nervous?
And being nervous, that's a good question. I think nervous is part of being stressed, right? So you can be nervous about something and stressed about something at the same time. Or you can just be a little, they're very, very similar, but stress is more than just being nervous. Stress would be when your body's kind of being under it's a longer period of time than being nervous. Does that make sense? Sort of. That's a hard one to explain, but I think you can be nervous for a short period of time, and stress is long standing. It keeps going with you. You carry it longer.
One comment from Dauphin.
Hello there, I am Jose. Thank you so much for the opportunity today. I have some comments and also have a question. question that I was asked was people in the city are more stressful than the people in the bush. How do you feel about that? And my comments about talking to people when you have troubles or when you have problems or when you are so stressful, I think it is a good idea to talk to people, but you gotta have to be, very sure who to talk to, because sometimes, if you talk to people who just drain your energy or who just add more fuel to the fire, then it's not very helpful. So choose who you would like to talk to. Who do you think is going to help you, support you, really see the positive side of the issue for you and everything. Thank you so much.
I agree with you. I think it's really important to choose someone you trust and that you know can lift you up instead of tear you down, right? You don't want someone who's going to be like, I know your life is the worst, right? No, you need someone who is going to be able to help you see solutions. So you have to choose those people wisely. And if you don't have people like that in your life, seek them out, because we all need someone who supports us, right? And I don't know, city dwellers, what do you think is more stressful, city or bush? They all think the city is more stressful. Although I think life can be stressful there too, right? You still have a lot of those things that we talked about, illness or death of a family member or relationships, and all of that can still be stressful. So it's still there for sure. Yeah, insecurity. Yes.
Thank you. How can we know that someone needs our help if they hide it? For example, we have a family member that may commit suicide, and we didn't expect that. So is there a kind of signal that may help us to identify, for example, someone needs our help? Thank you.
Yes, yes. So some of what we talked about, those warning signs that, withdrawing from activities and not doing things they used to do that they enjoyed, talking about just not wanting to go on, those are all warning signs. And if you feel like you have a family member in that situation, I think it's important to talk to that family member. You can say, I've noticed you're not doing the things you used to like to do. I've noticed that you seem incredibly sad, and it may help to talk about it. So I'm here for you. I'm here for you in the good times and the bad. You can even say, I went to the speaker and I learned, that it's really important to talk about this. So I just want you to know I'm here for you. And sometimes when you're depressed or sad, it's hard to see the answers to your problems. So why don't we talk about them together so that I can help? And if I can't help, we can find someone who can, right? Yes.
Thank you. Just want something about the help yourself, talk to someone or help yourself about and yes, I think that is really, really important. As the other person said, you have to choose the right person to whom you talk, and helping yourself is, I think, a crucial way, because when I think in my own experience, when depression starts, when you have like some sort of successive failures, when you do something and you're not satisfied, and it goes on and on and on, and I think the best way for me, like, find something that you're like satisfied about and do it, and like help others or make others happy. Find something that make you happy, and once you start getting happier and happier, like that goes, you start like this, you start to lose it. And
yes, yes.
When it's like when you see the symptoms appearing and like you start doing that, and you like it stops it from going further.
I agree. I think so. I think taking care of yourself is the first and foremost thing. And it's good that you know this about yourself, right? That this works for you. And you also said helping others. So, you can reach out to others who need it as well. Yes. It's all right. We said talking's a good thing.
Thank you. Thank you for your talk. Like today I know like I'm not just stressed, I have depression. No, I'm just kidding. Like you and me, like we are married. Like
we're married.
not we are.
I was gonna say I'm married.
Sorry, I'm married too.
Okay, I see.
I'm married. And you see it like most of the time in the family, like between husband and wife, sometimes there is some problems.
Yes.
And like there is stress. Like how could you give us some clue? Like how do you handle? How do you, in your family, like you and your husband have problems? Because it's happened all the time.
Well, this is a big, I could talk for 1 hour about this too, because we all have relationship problems, but I think one, talking about it with each other. I also think a big part, this is just a little relationship advice, is not keeping score with your partner. Like, I'm doing this and she's doing that and I'm doing more than her, and just trying instead to appreciate all that she or he does, and really focusing on that positive, like, I just thank you so much that you're making dinner every night. This is amazing, or whatever. And then you'll find that then the partner in return is appreciative as well. So instead, trying to really focus on that, those positive things, instead of I'm doing this and that and that. I mean, that's just one little thing, but I really think talking about it helps the stress in the relationship, and not letting it just brew on the inside, and talking about it with your spouse instead of other people on the side, you know, like talking about it with that person. Yes.
I want to know about what should you do to avoid the stress during the public speech?
Oh. Okay, so I think what I talked about, the visualizing success, imagining it's going well, that it's going to go well, you see all that, and those deep breaths beforehand, and just, I can do this. I can do this. And imagining you really can do this. You can do hard things. So I think that, and practice. Like this that I just did, this talk, I've done this talk for so many people. So I didn't just, you know, like first thing, didn't make this last night and just do it today. I have done this for years. So I just have practiced it many times.
Thank you.
Yes.
Maybe just an advice, like when you were like speaking in front of hundreds of people, or many people, or when you were like presenting something. Sorry. So I will repeat it again. So maybe this is another tip that may help in a public speaking. You can just don't look at the audience. Don't look at the audience. Just focus on one thing, like the back of the. Maybe Kate is right there, but she doesn't. Maybe if she's so stressful, she can just look at something like
that person's, yes, or yeah,
the person's nose, or
another
like
thing is you find someone who's like engaged, like you. I was looking at you a lot because you were nodding your head, you seem to be listening. So if I can kind of just like zone in on one person who seems very positive and like giving me, then I'm not going to look at the person who's like, you know, like you look at that person who seems like they're engaged, and that really helps. It kind of encourages you to keep going. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? I know you guys expected an hour, so yes.
I think that we all tend to overthink situations, and it often leads to depression. I think we are always overthinking about how bad the situation will be and things like that. And I think that it is a very big issue, because it really prevents us to do great things. And I think that this speech was really inspiring.
Okay.
Yes, it really helped me personally, yes. And I'd like to thank you for that. It was really amazing.
Oh,
yes.
good. Thank you.
But
Thank you.
do you have any advice on how to deal with overthinking or fear or failure? because sometimes we are afraid to make mistakes. And I think that we all know that situation. So what can you give us as an advice to deal with it?
Well, let's see. I think trying to think of mistakes as a learning curve, like I learn from my mistakes. Who doesn't make mistakes? We all make mistakes, right? And that is how we learn. Like if you're perfect, you're not learning anything. Okay, so if you can even think of it in learning a language, you make mistakes, you learn how to correct those mistakes, and you get better at the language. It kind of requires you to be vulnerable. And I'm trying to learn French right now, and oh my gosh. Anyway, and Malagasy. Oh, I'm not good at either of them, but I really have to put myself out there and know I'm going to make mistakes, and people are going to look at me and be like, what? And I'm going to have to say it 10 times, and then I'll learn the proper way to say it, right? So I think it's just knowing I have to put myself out there. I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm going to learn from them, really. Yeah. Yes.
I just want to add something about it. It is really important to have an auto motivation because personally, I've been in depression time a lot of time. I've made a mistake a lot of time too, but I just say myself, congratulations, you making mistakes. That's a big lesson for me. And then you should learn from that. I just find a lot of positive things behind my mistakes. I think that is necessary, and I just help myself about leaving this depression, find an happiest moment for my life, even in my job, education, a lot of things. Just make an auto motivation for that.
Yes.
That is really important.
And you don't lose your worth. Even if you make mistakes, you're still that dollar bill. You know, you're still the same. Yes.
I'm proud of it.
Yeah. Yeah, good.
I never regret my mistakes.
Good. Yeah. Yes. I think you can only regret the mistakes you make over and over and over and over and over and over again if you're not learning from it, right? But if you're learning, then.
But it is different mistakes, not the same.
Yeah, that's good.
And one question from YCC.
Yeah, come on. Yes, I've got a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. First of all, thank you for the amazing presentation you did for us because it's bringing us many advantages to overcome stress. So my question is, you just give many tips to overcome stress, but there's something you didn't before. You didn't say it's about some people overcome stress by just smoking or drinking, but they succeed in it. So what do you think about it?
I did talk about it. So you're saying, I just want to be clear, you're saying that people overcome stress by drinking or smoking? And what do I think about that? Is that
yes. Right? Yeah.
Oh, and they're successful doing it. I would argue that it can be a temporary relief of stress, but and there's nothing wrong with going and having a drink, right? Or having a cigarette both of them are wrong for your health. But in the long run, in excess, that is not going to fix your stress, right? It may temporarily help for a small amount, but then the next day when you wake up feeling terrible, it increases your stress, right? And it's not good for your body. So yes, maybe having a beer might make you feel a little better in that moment, but excessively, it's not going to help your stress. And if they're doing it all the time, then that's a whole other issue called alcoholism, which I could also talk about, but I won't.
Maybe one last question.
One last question is great.
Mind.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have to have an event for my kids.
Yeah, it's not really Christian, but when I'm totally stressed and I think about the word smile, and it makes me laugh, and that's
nice.
all the things.
You think about the word smile.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody has their things. I'm glad that works for you. That's awesome.
All right, I think we are, yes, time is more than up. We really appreciate that practical and hands-on insights that our guest speaker has shared with us how to handle this stress. And we hope that everyone has learned something. And maybe next time when you go to the dentist, you will be less stressed.
You'll be doing this.
So next Thursday, we are not going to have a Meet Us program with the upcoming visit of the Pope. So it's going to be a busy week and might be stressful. But stay tuned to our Facebook page and you will see what will be the next program, both in Malagasy and in English. So I think, once again, thanks much for sharing a lot of things today,
It's
this
my
afternoon.
pleasure.
Okay, thank you, Kate.
Thank you. Thank you. I guess I can turn this off. Thank you, guys.